bars of soap and liquid soap are equally valid, contingent on preference and pre-existing skin conditions. I think the war between bar users and liquid users has gone on far enough. Surely you've seen the debates, darling. The furious, angry debates over the objectively correct format for soap. Those who think all soap should be barred, and those who think barred soap should be barred. Only the other type of barred. An endless war between solid and liquid. It's gotten so bad that there's been talk of dispensing violence, water torture, bath bomb threats, sud missiles, promises of delivering gel on Earth. A storm is lathering, with both sides foaming at the mouth to scrub each other out. I'm just glad you stopped me when you did. I was running on fumes.
I made this.
That's a ding-a-ling. It's from the 70s. It's called a ding-a-ling. It was a simpler time back then.
The Dingalings, here they come. The whole fantastic bunch of them. Dingaling fireman coming to the rescue. He's got his own built-in pumper to save the day.
When you've got it in your hands, should you be rubbing or pumping?
It's Dingaling fireman coming.
Anyway, before we get cracking on today's video, I just want to make a couple of announcements because things are very, very exciting. First of all, Date Everything came out. That game, What I Worked On, that's available now on most of the systems. It got reviewed really well. It's selling really well. Really exciting. I wrote the character of Barry Styles. I also wrote like 90% of the text you get when you examine items. That includes 20 unique cardboard boxes, well, over 20 I think. Basically, wherever there's multiples of an object, I was told by the team that I wasn't expected to write unique flavour text for all of it, but I did. Obviously I did, I took that as a challenge. So there's loads of cool flavour text. Yeah, really cool. At the time this goes live, tomorrow, so that'll be June 24th, Quantum Witch comes out. That's another game I worked on. I wrote one of the major story arcs for that. It's a very cool plot former, very queer, very indie, very good. Lovely little game. Do check that out as well if you're so inclined. They're both on Steam. There is a demo as well for Quantum Witch if you wanted to try that. The other bit of news is I have been attached to co-author the official Vampire Survivors lore book, Vampire Survivors The Grimoire, alongside Paul Davies. I can't really talk about what I've done, but I've been given a lot of responsibility and I've used it recklessly and a little bit sassily.
Well, suds me up with soap and foam. I'm so excited.
I do think that we're coming to a time where I'm gonna have to take a little bit of a sabbatical after 10 plus years. Basically, this new career that I'm on it's just exploded. I've just got so much. This is just the stuff I've announced. I've got loads of other stuff in the works, and I think I've got to take the gas off the valve. Is that a saying? Pot off the boil a little bit in some areas, and I've never taken a vacation from this show. I will still do reviews, like written stuff. I'll still work to earn my keep, but yeah, she's just really good. Anyway, let's piss everyone off. Since I did the thing where I take a personal complaint about a game mechanic that isn't a big enough deal to support a full video, but I managed to find a way of extrapolating it into one anyway while getting a bunch of digs in at a game that's recently pissed me off and making sweeping generalised statements about everybody else's tastes that offend a bunch of people, because it turns out there's always going to be someone who says they like a game mechanic, no matter how rubbish it is, and holy shit, is this sentence still going? So yeah. What's the deal with weapon durability, am I right? What the hell? Whoa! It was a joke! Put it away. Now, we're not welcoming that circus back to town. Not this week, anyway. We're going to be talking about... Actually, one sec before we get to that. I'm actually wondering now if I can find an example of game design people won't go to bat for. How about that thing where the player character gets a radio call and walks really slowly while the conversation happens? You're just agonizingly crawling to the next bit of gameplay while Marcus Phoenix is running his fucking mouth.
Why me?
Oh, or what about that thing where there's a cutscene, then you get control given back to you and you move forward for like a second and it triggers another cutscene? Why do they do that? Is there seriously any case for it being a good thing? While you ponder that, because someone around here's got to stay focused, Friendly Fire is a fucking horrible game mechanic and I hate it. Ah yes, Friendly Fire. It's that thing that actually happens in actual wars, replicated as a standard part of multiplayer games for the alleged delight of gamers. My neurowacky need to exhaustively explain things that don't need explaining compels me to tell you what Friendly Fire is, so pretend you don't know what it is for a second. Friendly Fire is a rancid bit of game design in which players on the same team can damage each other with their attacks. Getting caught in the path of your teammates' gunfire is the most common manifestation, though there are other ways too. At best it's annoying, at worst it can be downright ruinous. Few people like that rhetorical thing I do where I speak for literally everybody by confidently claiming a highly specific situation has never happened, so I'm going to do that again right now. Very literally nobody has ever been playing a game and thought it would be better if they added Friendly Fire. Friendly Fire has never been requested by an audience. Ever. You watching this, you have never named Friendly Fire as an explicit reason for enjoying a game. Okay, before you get too mad at me, let me add that I have learned my lesson somewhat and I'm not seriously making that kind of generalization. Not anymore. And when it comes to this mechanic especially, I will allow that in very particular cases there can be games where accidentally shooting your friends to death might lead to fun. I can certainly see how Friendly Fire in a very chaotic game where having a ridiculous time is explicitly part of the entertainment could be hilarious. However, I don't think that's the case for at least 90% of games in which Friendly Fire is a thing. Oh, and I also understand some instances of player-sourced ally damage, specifically when it comes to explosives. I will accept that lobbing grenades willy-nilly is entirely on the user and anything that goes bang in general is going to have splash damage that's supposed to be an inherent balancing factor. I'm not going to have a go at explosives. Well, not until we get to FBC Firebreak, where we'll get to see what happens when boomy things and everything are not and is not balanced correctly. A few games spring to mind immediately when I think of Friendly Fire. Left 4 Dead is one such example, as I played the ape-caressing hell out of it back in the day. There's so much I love about that game: the frantic pace, the clever dynamism, the delightful characters. Of all the things I fondly remember about Left 4 Dead though, hurting my teammates has never been and never will be one of them. Friendly Fire in horde shooters just strikes me as problematic in general. In doing a bit of research, I was reminded of World War Z. Now that's a shooter I adored, but it was absolutely lousy with player-on-player damage. It's just a cheap way to go down in a game where enemies often completely surround you and you have to shoot around yourself accordingly. These games are designed to encourage teams to stick together, yet the closer you are during a heavy wave of enemies, the more dangerous you become to each other. I've seen people say this enhances the realism, and No, we're not entertaining the realism argument today, because it's bloody silly. I have reality for realism, and I don't like it. Personally, I just don't see what it adds as someone who doesn't think realism is some inherently positive trait, because it very obviously isn't. Like my many other bugbears, I just want developers to ask the question, how does this make our game more fun? I don't know if a lot of devs do that. I think they can often just lift a standard set of mechanics without thinking about them, doing what games have always done for no other reason than games have always done them. I feel like there's a lot of annoying or outdated mechanics that would disappear if devs stopped to ask why they're putting them in. Versus shooter Rainbow Six Siege is noted as one of the worst offenders of all time. I've not played it since it was a lot newer, and I'm still not touching a game made by Abusisoft anymore, so I can't refresh my memory, but it is somewhat legendary for it, to where it's a very real problem, especially because trolls used it to plague their supposed teammates with unexpected damage. It's so bad they had to include a reverse Friendly Fire system to try and force players to be cautious, a mechanic that essentially casts Reflect but for bullets on the target of sustained ally fire, so the one doing the shooting takes the hits. It's actually not a bad idea, as trolls are one of the big issues with friendly fire. There's always going to be someone who doesn't mind going down with the ship so long as they get to drown someone. Giving them easy means to incapacitate their own team is just giving the devil a playground. And while reflecting the damage is one way to combat it, a better way would be to just not have the system at all. Have you ever played a beat-em-up where you can either damage or at least flinch another player in co-op? I used to play a lot of old-school Streets of Rage in 2-player and fucking... It's a miserable time unless you keep well the hell away from each other. Allied damage was carried over into the genuinely excellent Streets of Rage 4, and I didn't like it there either, especially on Mania difficulty. Annoyingly, while you can turn it off in 4, doing so disables a damage bonus directly tied to the mechanic. Literally one person was playing Streets of Rage 4 online when I tried to get a game going earlier, and friendly fire wasn't on, but just look at this shit and think about what it would be like if we could hurt each other. Now, while I didn't nab footage of direct damage, I at least got an approximation with this stage, which has a big pendulum that players can hit to make it swing and deal damage to anything it touches, friend and foe alike. Just that fraction of an ability to get in each other's way causes exasperating amounts of trouble. Depending on the beat-em-up, ally damage can make the thing feel borderline unplayable. Accidentally throwing your friend around because the game decided you were nearer to them than the enemies is just bloody miserable. In any game that allows friendly fire to be turned off, you can damn well guarantee that shit is going off. Personally, I find most implementations of friendly fire to be counterproductive to the experience the game is trying to provide. When I'm playing a heavy combat-focused co-op game, I want to feel like I can, trust the combat system. I find it detrimental to the very idea of gunplay when I have to be all timid about opening fire, gingerly shooting around my teammates, or constantly watching my back, because obviously we're going to get in each other's way a bunch. It's a video game. We have limited spatial awareness because we're not physically inhabiting the digital space in which combat's taking place. We can't feel the presence of our teammates. Best we can do is keep an eye on them at all times, since visual confirmation and limited audio cues are all we have, and in the heat of battle, I want to focus more on what I'm battling. Friendly fire often just feels like a cheap exploitation of that limited awareness, taking advantage of the fact that not all our physical senses translate over to the game in a bid to make things more quote-unquote challenging. It's essentially punishing the player for lacking the digital equivalent of omniscience. I hate saying the word digital out loud. Friendly fire especially sucks for someone as terminally anxious and self-conscious as I am. I feel embarrassed every time I accidentally shoot a teammate and can't help but assume the other player thinks I'm a dick. Even if they're the ones who wandered in my path, I'm gonna feel anxious about looking like a knobhead, and I don't find it enjoyable to feel that way. You wanna talk about realism in games? I feel that way in real life all the bloody time. I don't wanna feel debilitating social anxiety when I've got an assault rifle in my hands. And that's just when I take off a bit of HP, never mind being the unlucky bitch to actually down or kill a player with errant bullets. I genuinely find such a scenario mortifying. The game that sparked my annoyance in particular is FBC Firebreak, that decidedly tepid Control spin-off that I still can't believe Remedy developed instead of farming off. Because goddamn does it look, sound and play like something a studio would only make because another company paid them to make it. I'm not here to have a go at the game, I already did that on the site, but I do need to talk about how it's got some of the worst ally damage I've ever seen in my life. A co-op FPS seemingly designed with friendly fire as a core component of the challenge. Firebreak at times comes off like a practical joke, as if Remedy is actively trolling its players. First of all, it's just plain harsh, dealing not negligible amounts of damage in a game where enemies swarm around, and combat isn't all that tight to begin with, and heavy enemies zone in on one specific player and flail about wildly, so it's hard not to hit the targeted person you're trying to bloody save. It's worse than that though. Every element of the frigging thing seems built to lure players into harming each other. Grenades are fucking weird, going off exactly where the reticle points without the arc of normal game grenades, as if to trick you into throwing them too close. But even if you account for that, the things have truly unhinged explosion radiuses far beyond what appears reasonable, certainly to the point of feeling very off to someone like me who has played most FPSs. Each of the 3 unique classes, for want of a better word, unlocks cooldown abilities and a sort of ultimate thing. We'll just call it an ultimate, and they are where we truly enter gag territory. The swivel cannon turret, which is already one one of the crummiest turrets in all of games, is far more dangerous to the players than the enemies, firing in unpredictable directions with a big AoE explosion that can take most of your health bar away when it hits you. And that's a when, not if. You got this water gun and its cooldown ability replaces the useful water with splash damaging globs of fucking lava that's borderline useless as soon as enemies get in your face because you'll just get caught in the blast. Speaking of the water gun, it offers the closest thing to a support role, the water not only putting out fires but spraying flames and other deleterious effects off of allies. Unless you equip the perk that makes player tools more effective at combat when your gun ammo inevitably runs out. This makes the water deal some damage, which in turn adds a friendly fire effect to it, which in turn disables its function as player support. Oh, and because it is water, if you try and put out a fire while you're stood too close, damn right you'll get that damage as splashback. Hell, you don't even have to shoot a goddamn thing to hurt your teammates, you don't even have to be active. Such is this game's love of friendly fire, literally in this case. If you're on fire and become incapacitated, you will remain on fire and you will spread it to the poor player who comes along to revive you, for fuck's sake. If Firebreak achieves anything, it's highlighting everything wrong with friendly fire as a concept and showcasing exactly how not to implement it if a developer absolutely has to for whatever cracked reason. I genuinely can't fathom what the hell they were thinking when they took it to such an extreme, but fuck. Also, I forgot how bloody good Streets of Rage 4 is, holy hell. This is obviously not a direct comparison, but directly comparing Streets of Rage 4 to FBC Firebreak easily shows Streets of Rage 4 to be blatantly better than FBC Firebreak. It looks nicer, it's got better punching, we're not directly comparing mind you. Blaze has way better boots than any of the boots in Firebreak, and it contributes a lot more narrative value to the Control and Alan Wake story. But seriously, I was replaying it for this video and it's still incredibly good. I hadn't tried the DLC before now, but they added a survival mode that feels all roguelitey with power-ups and such, and it's kind of awesome. I got it for $3 and something via the PS's pluses, and yeah, well worth it. Also, you can play as the lady with the big muscles now. Yes. Oh my yes. Anyway, I'm not turning this into a Streets of Rage 4 fan video, but let's face it, I'll be well within my flapping rights. I'm far from the first to wade into the friendly fire debate, and I won't be the last to stand in the middle of the unfriendly crossfire. It is a debate too. Churlishness aside, I will admit there are people who do defend friendly fire and will tell you it's good. I do wonder how many of them actively miss the mechanic when they play games in which it's not featured, but hey, they like it, and they're welcome to it. It's been around for a long time, it will remain around for a long time. It's not the most ruinous thing. In many games, it's a minor annoyance at most, and I can look past it. Never have I ever felt a game is truly better for the idea, though. Never has it enhanced my fun, or even made a game challenging in a way that interested me. And then we have games like Firebreak, ones that take the concept to prank levels, demonstrating that for as little value friendly fire can bring to a game, holy fuck can it take a lot away.
I always recommend Professor Texture's non-alcoholic and smoothing formula for the daily maintenance of oral acceptability. Bubblegum flavored, of course.
Maybe that's what they meant with I want you to play with my ding-a-ling. Maybe it was that. Oh well. Cheap plastic crap. Well, you could say the same about me. Actually, no, you couldn't. These are real. What was I going to say? Remedy. It's a shame. It's not really... the gameplay aspect isn't really the strongest part of what they do. They're storytellers. And, you know, they don't make terrible games sometimes. I'm one of the few people that will go to bat for Quantum Break. Loved Alan Wake. I liked Control well enough. Alan Wake 2, I don't talk about that. Mostly because I got called terrible things the last time I gave my opinion of it. I hate it. I hate it. And then Firebreak just focuses on the gameplay aspect, sort of Remedy's weakest element, and there's very little what you could call lore or story. I meant what I said when I said Streets of Rage 4 contributes a lot more to the Alan Wake / Control universe. Anyway, I'm gonna go back to playing a bit of Control. If Firebreak's done one thing, it's got me to think about playing Control again. So I've been playing a little bit of that. It's still got the best bonk in video games. Any criticisms I have of it, and I do have criticisms, the bonk when you hit someone with a fire hydrant, when you telekinesis it into their head, it is one of the most satisfying sound effects in all of video games. Unless ADHD kicks in, I will try and edit that in now. Otherwise, you can all thank God for me. Bye. Bonk. ADHD happened.